This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. I have got a 30-minute late Eddie Hearn. My mum just rang me, said, "What are you doing? You've got the living room free. I'm not hearing you talking to anyone. You're meant to be speaking to Eddie." So not only is your lateness now rubbing off on me, Eddie, but it's actually pissing.
Claire's not happy.
Not happy with you, mate.
Blimey. What is Claire less happy about? Me being late for my interview or your centre parting?
You being late for the interview.
Okay.
Really upset. I've actually just finished a run, which is why I look miserable, Edward, but
Okay.
you're the man in the middle of the screen.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are we, sir?
Very good. Thank you. Obviously, been a lot of work the last sort of week or so around the announcements that have just been announced. Still got some big US announcements to make, but pleased to get some more cards locked in. Obviously, with the Crocker Donovan fight coming up, which is selling really well at Windsor Park. And yeah, just working away. Downtime, a little bit of shows. August 16th, we're back in Saudi. So got like 2 weeks just to get planning, chill out, have a little bit of downtime, and then, get ready for a big run.
Well, let's go straight into these announcements. Pat McCormack up in Sunderland. Eddie, have you spent much time in Sunderland before?
Oh, I'm a massive Sunderland fan. It was actually planned to be in Newcastle, but because of venue availability, we moved it. It's not far actually from the Newcastle arena, but a really good fight card up there. Obviously, a big step up for Pat McCormack, who I think really after this he's going to be ready for all the big fights at 147. I don't think there's any point holding him back once he beats Para. Mark Dickinson against Troy Williamson. I absolutely love it, to be honest with you. Cameron Vong back in the homeland. Leo Atang, Tia Ayton, so much more as well. So that's a kind of next gen style card. September the 6th, same night as well, of course, as the homecoming in Los Mochis for Sugar Nunes against Puerto Ricans Christopher Diaz. It's going to be a wild night. We've got this 7,000 arena in Los Mochis. If you imagine, this place doesn't really get a lot of big time boxing, but it's the home of Sugar Nunes. It is going to be one of the most wild nights you've ever experienced. It's going to be banged out to the rafters for what I believe is the best at the moment and proven 130 pounder in the sport in Sugar Nunes.
Why do I get the inkling that you might be taking a little trip to Mexico that weekend and Frank Smith
What,
might
rather
get...
than Sunderland?
Yeah, I think Frank Smith might
It's
get
going to be,
stuck
yeah,
up
it's going to
north.
be a close one. I mean, I like to be around for the next gen shows, but it is globally, it's an important night for us. I really feel like Sugar Nunes is the best fighter in the world. This is the quick turnaround, the quick homecoming before he's in those big fights. Ray Ford, Shaki Foster, Navarrete, particularly a massive potential unification fight as well. So I do, I love those kind of nights because 7,000 people in Mexico in his hometown will be an atmosphere you'll really remember. So we'll have to see. Sunderland or Los Mochis.
Crocker Donovan's been announced first All Irish World title fight. The numbers online seem to be really, really strong. Everything we've put out, the reaction to it's been really good. You say it's selling well. Just excited to be able to get that over the line for Windsor Park.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm really glad that we're doing it at Windsor Park because you're going to get 20,000 plus there, selling really, really well. I think we're 12, 13,000 already. Um, but it's a lot easier to do it indoors. And actually, financially, with the extra costs versus the 8 or 9,000 tickets in the SSE, it's not that much more profitable to do the event outdoors. But what it does do is create an iconic moment for the sport. And when you've got the first ever All Irish World Championship fight, I felt like we should do something special and we should make the extra effort to do something special. And that Windsor Park event is going to be wild. Like those guys, I think I'm sure they realise, but they have an opportunity there to win the IBF world title, to put themselves in the firing line of Haney, Tiafimo, Shakur, Conor Benn, Ryan Garcia, all of these fights. Like they are going to make a fortune, whoever wins that fight. And you are going to become the first person to ever win an All Irish World Championship fight. And it's at 147. I mean, Frampton was amazing in Belfast, Ryan Burnett, but they were also bantamweight, super bantamweight. This is a welterweight world championship. It's a massive fight, and there's a lot of beef between Kevin and Jarko, right? And Ish. I just think it's fantastic. Jarko Davies is a great fight, and I want to get them together because that's a big fight for Belfast. Obviously, McKenna against Dylan Moran as well. Pat Brown's in a big fight as well. Molly McCann makes her professional debut in boxing there as well, and probably another two all Irish fights to be added as well, plus some local talent and selling really well. Going to be a great night. Days like this, as they
Days
say.
like this. I can't quite relate on a cultural one to that one, Eddie.
The Wonder Days.
Dave Allen headlines in
Oh my
Sheffield. It's a fantastic story. It's one that boxing fans have bought into from the ups and the downs. They've kind of always he's been a little bit of their hardcore hero at times, Dave Allen. He fights Arsenbek Makhmudov October 11th.
yeah,
Now it's a fucking great fight, and it's one that
great.
I
Yeah.
can see why you've had the reaction you did. But I look at it and I do see a way that Dave Allen wins that fight as well.
Yeah, I think he's the underdog going. I've got to say, like, I texted him the other day and I said to him, this is either the worst decision, and I have to say we, because this is Dave. Like, I would never have chose Makhmudov for Dave Allen. Like, what I'm seeing is probably what you're seeing. Dave Allen's numbers are very strong. Dave Allen's popularity is growing all the time. Like, when you think about fighters that have that popularity in this country, he's right up there at the moment. And I thought it would have been a good idea to get a nice, easy name at the arena, right? Do a good crowd. But all of those names, and we would have done TKV if it was for the British, but he wasn't. He was like, I don't fear TKV. I just like, I'm not. And then the other names that I was giving him, he was like, I'm like, yeah, but Dave,
Are you
win
allowed
the
to say
fight.
what names, like some of the other names were?
Yeah, I mean, guys that I say you haven't heard of, but like Otto Warlin and like people like this. And he's like, he went, they're not very dangerous, are they? I went, no, but I mistakenly mentioned Makhmudov, and he went, oh, is that really scary guy that like punches so hard? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, he'd be good, wouldn't he? I'd really train for that one. I'm like, well, Dave, surely you shouldn't train for all of them, mate. He's like, yeah, but I need to be scared, and he's scary. So I'm like, okay. So he goes, and then he comes back the next day, goes, I've been thinking about it. I want to fight Makhmudov. And then, I reached out to Makhmudov's team and I was like, do you want to fight Dave Allen in England? And they're like, almost like, what's the catch?
What's the
The
catch?
fee. No, but the feeling is like, you wouldn't put your fighter in with an opponent like Makhmudov. So they're like, and I'm just being honest with him. And I'm saying, look, the guy's got 7 losses. He's good. He's good. He's better than his record. But he wants to fight you. And then they accepted. And then I've been thinking about it ever since. And I just, like I text him, I don't know whether this is a stupid mistake or a stroke of genius. And Dave will have to weather at least 4, probably 5, maybe 6 rounds of absolute turmoil and violence. And if he comes through there, he does have a chance. We know Makhmudov does fade, right? If you stay in, you hang in, and you fucking watch the fight with Caballero. It was brutal, but Caballero soaked it up, took it, stopped him. Now, is Dave Caballero? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing I said to Dave Allen is, you win this fight, I promise you will land a 7-figure payday. If you get, if you're fighting those guys, I'm talking about Parker, Moses, Wardley, I don't know, Park, like whoever. But you beat Makhmudov, you deserve to be going into those fights. Wilder. You imagine Dave knocks out Makhmudov. We fight Deontay Wilder at the O2.
Mad old
Like,
world.
but, and since don't forget, this has been out there for like 10 days, and Dave's done a great job not telling, well, I mean, we've kind of tried not to tell anyone, but he's been training his bollocks off since this has been announced. And maybe it's what he needed. But yeah, it will either be a great decision or a terrible idea.
Edward, I've got to give you some beans, mate. You're back at York Hall.
I know. I didn't think we'd ever go back to York Hall, but we created this. Well, I say created this fight. It's contractually agreed with both guys, and we were in a situation where I was like, look, we're not moving away from next gens, but we don't just want to brand a smaller show a next gen all the time, especially when it's a British and Commonwealth title. So contractually, both Liddard and Kieran Conway agreed to fight each other for the British and Commonwealth title. It's a brilliant fight, brilliant fight. And I was like, I want that to headline. I don't want it to go on a co-main event anymore. I want that fight to headline. But you got Jimmy Sains on there. You got a lot of big ticket sellers on the card, um, and a great card that will be announced shortly. And I was just like, why go? Why would we go to the Copper Box and do three, 3,500, close off the top tier? Why don't we just go into York Hall? I know it'll be sold out. We won't even probably go on sale, but it will be a special old school night at York Hall. And Frank was like, yeah. And I said, to be honest with you, I did sort of not, I'd say take the mickey out of York Hall, but obviously there was a period when I was back and forward with Frank Warren. I was like, he does a load of his shows at the York Hall. But yeah, I did it. And I'm probably going to be really glad I did it on the night because I think it'll be a special old school domestic fight. And George Liddard, fair play to him for taking this fight. He's a young man. He's only starting out, and Kieran Conway's looking better and better. But it's a really good domestic dust up at the end of October.
Is your ego going to be small enough to fit in the doors at York Hall, Eddie, mate?
I will be in York Hall 1,000,000%. And I'll be going for a salt beef bagel after. And I haven't done a show in York Hall. Jesus. Certainly not for 5 years, I don't
I've
think.
never done a match from York Hall show.
Well, there you go. We'll dress it up nice for you, Charlie.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Make it about me. Get up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what you do normally. So.
Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. Nikisa was in London yesterday. I believe certain members of the Matchroom boxing team may have been within the London vicinity. Have meetings been had?
Yeah, we had a get together the other day, probably, it was a long, close to an hour. And I think obviously we've had our ups and downs with MVP over the years. I think we're in a good place with them at the moment, which is firstly much more enjoyable, and secondly good for business because this could be one of the biggest moments in boxing, bizarrely. I really believe they want to do the fight. And if they really want to do the fight, then I believe the fight will happen. Nikisa was pretty honest. I think he's probably a bit concerned for Jake because, you know, he knows boxing. But Jake seems to, don't ask me why, truly believe that he can beat AJ and compete with him. Um, it's never a fight I anticipated. It's never a fight we've called for. But if it's presented, I can't see us not taking it. And you will get probably the biggest moment, the biggest fight in boxing. So we went through a lot of I'll say contract points, but essentially points that would be papered. And I don't think there's a lot to discuss, if I'm honest.
So it's quite a straightforward one on your eyes.
Pretty much. It's
Wow.
just a case of if they want to do it. And if they want to do it, I think we'll do it.
Do
And
the numbers line up that easily already?
it's just huge,
Yeah.
I mean, just huge. But I said to him, I said, and I keep saying to people, you know, this is dangerous, right? And I said to Nikisa, I said, this is a bit like the whole world will tune in for many different reasons. Many will tune in to watch the potential demise of Jake Paul in boxing. Other people will tune in for the violence and the danger. But I said to Nikisa, this is a little bit like tuning in to watch David Blaine. But it's not some geezer trying to find his way out of a box full of water in 3 minutes. This is far more dangerous than that. and this is real. So almost like a, this is on you. You want this fight and you present it to us, we're taking it.
Did you see Nikisa's comments on Sky Sports yesterday? I think it was. He said that Mike Tyson is a significantly more fierce puncher than Anthony Joshua, and when they kind of compare sizes and stature and heavyweights, that that gives them faith. Obviously, they know that Mike Tyson's significantly older, but when using the Francis Ngannou reference, they said, "Well, that's a mixed martial arts fighter. It's not a boxer like Jake Paul
Yeah,
is."
I think, listen, I think Nikisa will try and sometimes justify, it doesn't have to justify the fight, but talk themselves into, yeah, actually, no, this could be competitive. Like, I don't think this is competitive. I'm not going to sit with you and tell you, oh, yeah, if AJ's not on the night, I expect AJ to go in there and spark him bad, right? Now, if they want to believe they can win the fight, good, and they should believe they can win the fight. I do agree with Nikisa in terms of his comments about, Ngannou. Jake Paul is a boxer. He has been in numerous boxing fights. And Ngannou was in one boxing fight. He
Is
fought
Jake Paul
Tyson
a
Fury.
harder task than Ngannou in a boxing ring?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure there's a bit
But,
of faith in
I do
humanity.
believe that he's probably, I think he has more ring time than Francis Ngannou in boxing. I don't think he punches as hard. I don't think he's physically as strong. I don't think, yeah, but I don't know. But listen, for me, this is a straightforward night at the office. And this basically comes down to Jake Paul. If you want this, if you truly believe you can compete and possibly win, then this fight will happen. If not, we can talk about it. But the feeling I got from my conversations with Nikisa is one, this is a deal that can be done. And two, this madman actually wants it.
Eddie, I look at the numbers that we put out when we do Jake Paul posts, when we do Jake Paul Anthony Joshua posts under collaboration with DAZN. They're astronomical. I sit here with a head of someone who knows that they'll be involved in the event and know how big the numbers will be. But there will be that kind of age-old discussion point that people always say is like, one, who the hell is sanctioning this in the first place? And two, is it wrong?
I don't think it's wrong because it's not like this isn't just a pure YouTuber who's just kind of gone, yeah, I'm a YouTuber, let me fight. This is a guy who has been fighting now for what, 4 or 5 years. He's been in multiple training camps. He's done hundreds of rounds of sparring. We all know the famous clip with me saying he was average when he started. He's better than average now, but not a lot better. I mean, for me, this isn't a world-class fighter. This is a guy that I think is top 50 cruiserweights in the world. So would we normally take a top 50 cruiserweight to fight AJ? No. But I can't, if this gets made and in all this build-up, Charlie, you ain't never going to see me telling you this is an epic fight. And it's not a one-sided fight. Because I'm not going to, I kind of, I'd like to keep a little bit of credibility and be honest enough to say, I think this is a horrific beatdown of epic proportions. But there's a lot of people that want to watch this beatdown. And if you're inviting us to participate in the beatdown, we accept the invitation. Simple as. But I keep saying to them, be aware of the danger. It's ain't a game. And if you come, by the way, if this happens, he'll come physically ready, Jake. He won't mess around. Like he's not an idiot. But I can't see it being anything but a brutal beatdown.
Well, there is a bit of faith in boxing kind of humanity there, in that it should be. Very quickly, Eddie, Simon Jordan, in response to your Rodriguez Jr. fails drug test comments, said you should have known that he failed a drugs test in your previous fight. That's a lack of care on your end, and that there's an element of hypocrisy in your comments due to what you've been saying with the whole Conor Ben case.
I mean, firstly, Um, I shouldn't have known about a drugs test because it was never reported to anyone. So it was never, the commission never reported that to the WBC. We were never made aware of it. It's not, wasn't a public statement anywhere. Um, so it was only really for some deep diving after the moment that this guy had failed a drugs test. As we find out, it was for what we believe to be marijuana, right? Not a
Uh,
performance enhancing drug. Still, it's not the greatest kind of look failing back to back fight night tests. So yeah, Simon's gonna say what Simon says. Great to see now. I saw Simon Jordan said that his favourite sport now is boxing. So that's great.
how much
Uh,
of you do you think you're to do with that, mate?
Me?
Yeah.
No, but Simon. No, but Simon has to go. Like the way that Simon's going to make his money is hitting numbers, and he knows that boxing hits numbers. We all know that one of the biggest digital interactive sports is boxing, right up there with football. So, and he's obviously a boxing aficionado now. So, um, yeah, I think he's probably right in terms of the hypocrisy around some of the things that I say about the Rodriguez and Conor Ben thing, because it is kind of an interesting dynamic. And I will be honest, I did learn a huge amount through the whole Conor Ben situation. There was a massive difference. Conor Ben's fight never took place. And, he wasn't sanctioned to take part in the event because we had to wait for a decision from the local commission. In this instance, unfortunately, Galao Yafai did 12 rounds with a fighter that had performance enhancing drugs in his system. The VADA tested that we paid for previously showed a negative test. However, on fight night, so what we know is in the ring, he had performance enhancing drugs in his system. And that's very different, obviously, to the Conor Ben situation. But Simon will use it where he wishes to use it effectively for him.
Napa told me he's confident that Eubank Jr. Ben happens this year.
We've not heard anything. I mean, Connor is chomping at the bit and wants to know what's going on. And if we can't make the Eubank fight, we're ready to make another fight ASAP. But we are hearing November is a strong possibility. So hopefully we get some news soon.
Adam Booth blasted your offer for Josh Kelly. What did you make of his comments?
Uh, yeah, Adam said that, I'm putting it out there publicly to put pressure on. No, one of you bods, right, go to me, whose boot's going to fight next? And I go, well, we're actually talking to multiple people. And then he goes, well, give us some names, as you always do. And I go, oh, fucking all right then. We've made an offer to Josh Kelly. It's nothing about putting pressure on him. I think we've offered him, I don't want to say a number because we're still negotiating, but I mean, it's a lot of money. The problem is Josh got ridiculous money to fight Ishmael Davis. He was supposed to be fighting Liam Smith, and he's comparing boots to Liam Ishmael Davis, and it doesn't work like that. I mean, the budget's the budget for the fight. With all due respect to Josh Kelly, he isn't going to break down the boundaries in Philadelphia. He's going to come in as an opponent. If he thinks he can win, he should take the fight. But Josh is a great fighter, and Adam knows boxing like that. They also know how good Boots is. I don't blame them necessarily for not taking the fight. If you don't believe you can win the fight, why would you take it? But unfortunately for him, he made massive money for that fight that he uses as a yardstick for everything else. And the industry is forever changing.
Eddie, lastly from me, Joshua Buatsi no longer under boxer. Queensbury have just announced the signing of him. Billy Nelson on Monday at the press conference was pretty furious, said they've had no contact with Ben Shalom, etc. We're still waiting to hear of this BBC iPlayer thing. Is the deal, is there a chance that they leave the game? I mean, what are you hearing in
Oh, I
your...
think they'll do the iPlayer deal. I mean, look, the iPlayer, there's a lot of promoters on iPlayer and been on iPlayer. Dennis Hobson, Chris Saniger as well. They've done shows on iPlayer, and that's a it's, it can be an effective platform. The issue is they don't pay any money, or they pay a very small amount of money. So unfortunately, you can't put on the shows that are neat. I mean, right now, You know, you've got Adam Azine, Ben Whittaker, Fraser Clark, Lauren Price, Caroline Dubois, Callum Simpson, all going, when on earth am I fighting? These are fighters that cost a lot of money to get out. And you can do one show and lose a couple of 100 grand, and then maybe you can do another. But like, it's just difficult if you don't have a significant rights fee budget. And that's not a deal that's going to deliver that. But I don't know. I don't expect them. They'll definitely stay in the game, but you just have to adapt accordingly.
Eddie, cheers, mate. Have a lovely rest of your afternoon.